The Matadors love its newest Texas Tech store, offering the official Wreck-'em Tech shirt of the Saddle Tramps. Together, the Matador and the Saddle Tramps are ready to gear you up for Texas Tech football. Buy your Wreck-'em Tech shirt at the Matador for only $15 and feel proud that you are supporting the Saddle Tramps and Texas Tech. Start a new tradition. Stop at the corner and shop the Matador, or shop online at shopthematador.com.
Hi, and welcome back to this week's episode of Matador Express. I'm your host, Everett.
And I'm Dawit, Haile.
All three Tech teams now have a loss, with every athletics program beginning Big 12 conference play this past weekend. Starting off with the Tech football team, they were the first to take a conference loss against Oklahoma State last Thursday in Stillwater. Tech's new defensive coordinator Mike Smith said that although the Red Raiders gave up 45 points, he was impressed by the way the defense played. And he thought they had a lot of room, to improve. Wait, do you think the defense looked any better this past weekend against Oklahoma State, or do you think they just looked the same as they did under Wallerstedt?
Personally, I think it's too early to say. I'll definitely give the defense credit. They seemed more composed and prepared for what Oklahoma State was doing. Unfortunately for them, the offense couldn't get out of its own way and take advantage of the turnovers they finally got.
Yeah, I think a main problem with the defense, they were making stops. The defensive line had probably its best game it's had the whole year, and Brandon Jackson played incredibly, had a whole bunch of tackles. But even as with the offense, like you were saying, they couldn't get out of their own way. There was still the penalties, there were pass interference penalties, and you got to give credit to the Oklahoma State receivers. There would be double coverage, triple coverage, and those Oklahoma State receivers were bringing balls down. Those young Tech cornerbacks weren't making plays, and you could just see their inexperience there. Oklahoma State didn't run the ball as much as Tech thought they would, and used the passing game to hurt them.
Early in the fourth quarter against Oklahoma State, Davis Webb went down with a shoulder injury. This forced Cliff Kingsbury to put in true freshman Pat Mahomes. I know it's just the end of the fourth quarter for Pat Mahomes, but what do you think from what you saw he could provide Tech in the future if he becomes starter?
You know, obviously Mahomes made a mistake. He threw an interception on a ball that he probably shouldn't have been trying to get rid of when he's getting sacked in the pocket. But he's obviously very much more a mobile quarterback. They ran a couple option plays with Mahomes in that I thought was interesting. It's not something you've seen Tech do in a while. They haven't run the option. They've kind of been pass heavy. And I think maybe once Mahomes is the solo quarterback here at Tech, once Webb's graduated, if Mahomes takes over the job and they can implement the system that they want specifically for him, he could be a star. He's obviously got the talent. He can pass well. We saw that on a touchdown pass, and he's obviously got way more running ability than Davis Webb does. So I think he needs time to develop, obviously, but he's definitely got a bright future. Kingsbury on Webb, he said Monday that Webb would be a game-time decision this weekend when the Red Raiders take on Kansas State. But the sophomore quarterback was in full pads on Tuesday this week in practice, so it looks like he should be able to play. The number 6 Red Raiders soccer team also took its first loss this past weekend when they played their first road conference game at Texas. They lost in overtime to that game, but they were able to bounce back Sunday with a win over UC Riverside. What did you see? What kind of response did you see from the soccer players in that Riverside game?
In the Riverside game, I felt like the team actually played pretty well to start off, but I don't think they expect Riverside to come out with as much energy as they ended up coming out with it. Riverside's defenders were the only 2 players to score goals, none of the forwards or midfielders, and these goals they scored were unbelievable goals. Shots that Lauren Watson could not save at all, but I'll give Tech Soccer did a good job of keeping their composure and responding every time to eventually get the third goal in the 82nd minute with Janine Becky to clinch the game. The volleyball team was the last athletic program to pick up a loss, falling to West Virginia Saturday, but they also bounced back from their loss like Tech Soccer with a win against Baylor Wednesday night.
Yeah, both the soccer teams and the volleyball teams are at home this weekend. Tech Soccer takes on Oklahoma Friday and Oklahoma State on Sunday. They're trying to do a couple good things for charity. Can you talk about those charities they're working with this weekend?
First game is Friday, of course, against Oklahoma. The plan is to make that the pink game. What Tech has done is partnered up with United Supermarkets, and for every attendee that comes through those gates, they'll donate $1 to the Susan G. Komen Foundation to benefit cancer research. Um, and then for the Sunday game, Tech Athletics also partnered up with the Ronald McDonald House, and there's several things that they want to accomplish there. First off, they want to break the attendance record at a Tech soccer game, which as of right now is a game in 2011 against Kansas where 2,288 people were in attendance. They also want to have people wear clothing with stripes, red and white stripes, to bring awareness to the Ronald McDonald House. And then lastly, if people have the kindness in their heart to do so, they want them to donate an item that they can find on the wish list item on the website. These are items that are desperately needed to help support families with injured or sick children in the area.
Yeah, it's always good to see a sports team like that get together with local charities and do something for the greater good. That wraps up this week's episode of Matador Express, and we'll see you next week.